Chapter 9. Finn. Isht. The great mass of little blue fish attacked the side of the tank again. The crack spread into a pattern of crazy zigzags, stretching from floor to ceiling. "Look out, Gypsy!" shouted Teggs. "They're coming through!" The fish hurled themselves at the glass, and the tank burst open. Teggs and Gypsy watched helplessly as the tiny creatures swarmed inside the larder, and ignored them completely. Instead, the fish headed for the speaker in the little ceiling and attacked it, tearing it open with their vicious teeth. The sound of the siren faded. "Under attack!" gasped the computer voice. "The whisperfish have escaped the larder. Assistance needed." With a flash of sparks and an electronic cough, the voice and the siren shut off altogether. Teggs's and Gypsy's ears rang in the sudden silence. The next second, the monster vanished, as all the fish swam swiftly away in different directions. A few of them hung about in the larder, their little mouths opening and closing, but the others were already swimming back out to sea as if nothing had happened. "Of course!" yelled Teggs at the top of his voice, but some of the fish gave him a nasty look, so he quickly shut up. "They weren't after us. They were after whatever was making the noise." "I don't get it," frowned Gypsy. "You were right," he went on. "The Cryptocleidos did disturb something when they built their factories here in the south. Those whisperfish. Whisperfish hate noise." Gypsy nodded slowly. "Well, the glass in that tank was very thick," she said. "I'll bet it made things very quiet in there. And once the ship crashed and they escaped, the ocean must have been quiet too," Teggs went on. "Until the Cryptocleidos started building in whisperfish waters." "Of course," cried Gypsy. "Ever since then, these whisperfish have been joining together to chew up anything that makes a loud noise. Floating factories, submarines, that silly siren. And once they've stopped the racket, they split up again." "And so the monster seems to vanish," Teggs nodded. "That's why the whisperfish left us alone in our nice quiet shuttle, and the silent diving bell. We weren't disturbing them." "Well, now we know what's been going on," said Gypsy. "But what good does it do us? We're almost out of air." Teggs nodded. He felt a bit dizzy. "If we're not rescued soon..." As he spoke, a massive dark shape swam up to them through the shattered tank. "Oh no," groaned Teggs. It was Mira. "Coo-wee," he said, waving a flipper. "I've been looking everywhere for you two. Now it's my turn to hide." He trailed off. "Wait a moment. This is my spaceship. What are you doing inside my spaceship?" "Oh, trying to get out," cried Gypsy. But then a bright yellow light shone in at them through the glass. "Don't tell me it's another monster," Teggs groaned. It's some kind of submarine," gasped Gypsy in surprise. A gleaming sub was gliding through the water towards them. Mira spun around to see. Then he scowled. "It's those flippery things," he shouted. "They want to catch us. Well, I'll show them a thing or two." With that, he streaked out of the tank and over to the sub. His jaws were wide open. Teggs stared in horror. "No! Mira! Don't!" But as Mira bit down on the nose of the sub, zap! His eyes bulged. Then he stuck out his tongue, closed his eyes, and fell quietly to the seabed. A hatch opened on top of the sub, and Cripes swam out. Gypsy hugged Teggs with relief. "So, you did hear our SOS signal," said Teggs weakly. Cripes nodded. "Ark's worked out the best way to reach you, and Iggy drove us here in record time." He nodded. Well, you're looking kind of blue." "We're nearly out of air. gasped Tegs. I think I'm going to faint, croaked Gypsy. Quick, cried Cripes. Into the sub. With the last of their strength, Tegs and Gypsy made it aboard. Cripes shut the doors and led them out of the water. Gypsy wriggled out of her helmet and gulped down air. Tegs just swung his head into the wall and broke the glass helmet like an oversized egg. That's better, he whooped. And have we got a story to tell you? Tell me about it when you've had a rest, said Cripes gently. You two have been through a lot. What happened to Mira? Asked Gypsy. He'll be all right, said Cripes. He's just sleeping. When Iggy fixed the sub, he also gave it a special force field. Of course, Tegs beamed. A force field's like a wall of solid energy. When Mira tried to bite it, he got a big shock. Poor Mira, sighed Gypsy. He's not really bad. We'll tow him back to Sea Station 1, Tegs declared. Then we can work out how to get him back home. The sub's inner door opened and Iggy ran in. Captain! Gypsy! He beamed with delight. You're all right! Just about, replied Gypsy. She gave Iggy a hug. Though it's going to take weeks to get all the wrinkles out of my skin. A few hours later, the Astrosaurs were safely back aboard Sea Station 1. Tegs and Gypsy were both chilled to the bone from being in the freezing sea for so long. But after a lovely hot bath and a bucket of warm seagrass, they started to feel a bit better. The sleeping Mira had been towed to a special undersea pin. The pin was locked up, and Cripes had placed guards there. A few hours later, the Astrosaurs met Cripes on a balcony above the pin. No one is very happy about having a Leoplorodon here at Sea Station 1, grumbled Cripes. If he meant you any harm, don't you think he'd have attacked you already? Said Gypsy. I guess so, said Cripes. Speaking of attacks, thanks for finding the truth behind our mysterious monster. Now all we have to do is catch all the whisperfish, and they'll never bother us again. Tegs gave Cripes a hard stare. That doesn't seem fair. What do you mean? Asked Cripes. It can't be much fun being a whisperfish on the Leoplorodon world, said Tegs. Locked up in a tank and eaten for lunch? Not much of a life, is it? But here on Aqua Minor, things are different. The whisperfish have enjoyed a peaceful life swimming freely in the sea for years. Tegs marched angrily up to Cripes. And what do you want to do now? You want to catch them all up and send them back home for supper. But, well, they're dangerous, Cripes complained. Well, all they want is some peace and quiet, said Arx. Oh, they've never bothered you in the north. They probably won't bother you in the east and the west either. Share the planet with them, Cripes, Tegs urged him. Let them live here in peace. Cripes nodded, a little shamefaced. You're right. I'm sorry. Of course we'll let them stay. Hey! Came a booming voice from the undersea pin. What's going on here? It's Mira, said Tegs. He's woken up. But, well, he sounds different, said Gypsy. He sounds really scary. Suddenly Mira crashed through the surface of the water and glared up at them. Who are you? He bawled. Who dares to lock me up? Don't you recognize us? Asked Gypsy. Never seen you before, he shouted. I'm hungry. What have you done with my whisperfish? They're off the menu, Tegs told him. Sorry. Sorry? You will be, snarled the Leoplorodon. I'm Admiral Don Leo of the Leoplorodon Space Fleet. The last thing I remember is crash landing on this crummy planet during a test flight. His eyes narrowed. And I'm very, very hungry.